which is probably why 50% of marriages end in divorce, right? Because we're chasing a gushy feeling, and the feeling's gone, and I'm not in love with you anymore, and I'm out. And that is not love. What's up, geeks? It's your guy Q here, aka JGTV, and we are back with another one, guys. And today we're talking about love, so let's get right into it. We hear a whole bunch of different things, right? Let's start with some of the most infamous things, right? What's love got to do with it, right? Love don't live here anymore, right? Love TKO, right? And how can any of us forget, love me like you'll never see me again, right? And all of these things sound touching in a way, right? Sound some exciting in a way, sound interesting in a way, but none of them sound quite like love. Now, before we get deeper into this, let me just say, if you guys are supposed to be wearing a mask, wear your mask, please. If you're not, social distance, do your thing. All right, guys, let's get back into it. So, all of these things sound great, but none of these things sound like God. And this is where the biggest problem is at here, right? Because we don't want to just say something and it sounds good, like culture. We want to say it and make sure it sounds like God, right? Representing Jesus. The way culture describes love, based on what culture says, right? Love has stipulation, manipulation, and instructions, which makes it the total opposite of what God says love is, right? So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at what does God say about love compared to what culture says about love. Why does culture say manipulation can be included in love, right? Why does culture say things like stipulation can be included in love, right? Here are some things love is not. Let's talk about that first and foremost, right? Love is not on a clock, right? Love is not like, hey, you got X, Y, Z amount of time to do what I want you to do, or what I need you to do, or I'm out of here, right? Or I'm no longer participating, right? Love's not on the clock, right? Love is not iffy, right? If you do this, then maybe I'll do that. That's not love, right? Love is not manipulating, right? How can I get my way out of this? What can I do to get my way out of this? If I do this, how will this benefit me ultimately, right? Love's not manipulating, right? Love doesn't knock a person out, right? Love TKO. Great song, horrible situation. Love's not violent. Love doesn't knock a person out. And love does not leave, right? No, it does not leave, because God, when you give your life to Jesus Christ, God does not leave you, right? The Holy Spirit does not leave us, right? So we got to be careful with these things that we side with culture says about love versus what God says about love. So let's take a look at what God says about love, right? I'm going to go first to 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 14. Check this out. Let all that you do be done in love, right? Certain translations say, do everything in love. I'm like, wow, everything? that's everything. Like everything, including whatever you do at work, whatever you do at home, whatever you do at school, whatever you do on your way to the store. That's everything. That's why I was like, ouch. That one's hard. First John 4, chapter 4, verse 8, right? Anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love, right? Wow. So if I don't love, you're going to go as far as to say that I don't love God? Well, that's what God says. For God is love. So if you don't know God, that's why you don't love. All right, let's jump over to First Peter chapter 4, verse 8. And again, guys, I'm not going in any order when I'm reading these things. I'm just grabbing the Bible verses because we're surrounding all these Bible verses around what God says about love, right? So First Peter chapter 4, verse 8. Above all, keep loving one another earnestly, since love covers a multitude of sins. This has always been one of my favorite Bible verses, but I think to myself, like, wow, love covers a multitude of sins. And if you think about it, it truly does. Watch when I read this next one, and I can tie these two in together for you guys, right? Colossians chapter 3, verse 14, right? And above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony, right? So, put on love, right? And then we got Peter saying here that love covers a multitude of sins. Hey, when you love someone, it's not saying you're not going to have hard times, because you are. It's not saying that they're never going to do anything bad to you, because they are. It's not saying that they're never going to betray you, because they probably will. And it's not saying that they're never going to do anything for you to slightly lose trust in them, because they'll probably do that too. But what it is saying is that if love is at play, right? If God is in your life and love is at play, right? This covers a multitude of sins, right? It brings everything together in harmony, right? And how, Q, like, how does this work together, right? Well, when you love somebody, right, even when they offend you or they hurt you, because you love them and that love is real, right? You don't right away want to lash out at them, right? You don't right away want to end the relationship, right? You don't right away want to terminate any type of friendship, right? No, first you want to get to the bottom of it and find out, hey, what is going on here? Like, did something genuinely happen here to hurt me? Well, this person being malicious, right? It covers a multitude of sins, right? And it brings everything together. When families constantly arguing and no one's getting along, no one wants to go to Sunday dinner or Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner, what do, right? Put on love. That's what Colossians says. Put on love, and it brings everything together in harmony. And this is why love is so good, guys, because this is what it does. It's like glue. It just brings things together, right? We're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13. Again, another one of my favorite verses in the Bible. So now faith, hope, and love abide. These three. But the greatest of these is love. And I thought that was remarkable the first time I read this Bible verse, because I thought, wow, hope and faith and love. And out of those three, love is the greatest. Out of hope and faith. Wait a minute, because that's crazy. Because you can't even please God without faith. So how is love the greatest, right? Because we love because He first loved us. That's why, right? So it matters. Like, it matters if we say we love somebody, how we're loving on them, right? How we're treating them, how we're exemplifying that love, right? How we're showing it out in the world to others, right? Because Jesus said this, right? He said, you'll be known by your love, right? People will know that you're my disciples by the love that you have for one another. That's how they'll know you guys, by the love you have for one another. So this is a big deal to Christ, right? We're going to jump over to Proverbs chapter 10, and I'm going to read verse 12. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses. Wow. Another astonishing verse, right? All offenses. Do we not know how easy it is to get offended? Jesus said this. Jesus said it is impossible to not be offended. It's impossible. You're going to be offended. But woe to him who the offense comes through, right? But nonetheless, it's impossible that you're not going to get offended. Someone's going to offend you. It will happen. It is happening. It's going to happen. It will happen. It is happening. It's going to happen. Jesus already said it. Someone will offend you, right? But this says love covers all offenses, right? Is that true? Has your mom ever offended you? Has your wife ever offended you? Has your husband ever offended you? Probably, right? And what have we done? We've forgiven them. We've stayed with them, right? as long as we were walking with Christ and being honest about our forgiveness, right? Because we know God has a problem with unforgiveness because we were forgiven, right? So it does cover all offenses. Imagine that. Imagine if we all just exercised love more. The Bible tells us that love covers all offenses. So if we loved one another more, we would get offended less. Go figure, right? Let's go over to Romans chapter 5, verse 8. God shows his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Why is this verse important, right? This verse is important because if you look at this verse in context, right, Paul literally says someone would die for a good person, right? Maybe even a person that was attempting to be good, but God died for us when we weren't even good, right? Jesus died for us while we were still sinners, not even thinking about being good, right? And this is a big deal here because will you die for someone that's not good? Probably not. I mean, you could say anyone, but more than likely that wouldn't be the case, right? Would you die for someone who would be flippant with your death after you died for them? Like, would you be okay with dying for someone when after you die for them, they would be flippant in the sense where they would be like, I mean, I guess that guy did that for me. I heard something like that, but I'm not too sure about the facts on that. No, right? Of course not. And that is what Paul is saying here. Christ died for us before we even had thoughts about being good. Like, we weren't even thinking about it. We weren't even a little bit good. We were straight sinners and Christ died for us. And we could not pay that back. We couldn't replicate it. So, hey, this is the reason why you have to forgive. This is what God says about love, right? We see what culture says about love, but this is what God says about love. And you know what the biggest thing here, the pinnacle of this would be, is that God says love equals free will. Nothing in any of the verses I read was forced, right? None of it. And this is the reason why God loves us so well, because we have free will, which is also the answer to probably the second question I get the most from people who are either struggling with faith or non-believers, right? Why is there so much evil in the world, right? I don't know. Why did God give us free will? Because those two go hand in hand. There's not evil in the world because God is just sitting back and is like, oh, there's so much evil, I don't know what to do with it. No, it's so much evil in the world because he didn't make us into robots. We could do whatever we want. Like, it's not, Paul always, listen, it's not beneficial to do everything, right? You can do whatever you want, but everything is not beneficial, right? So no one's going to stop you from doing something dumb, but something dumb is probably not beneficial. So at the end of the day, this is what God says about love, right? God says love is patient, love is kind, love is faithful, right? God says love ties things together. God says love covers a multitude of sins. God says love covers all offenses, right? This is what God says about love versus what culture says about love. It's not about what love has got to do with it. Love's got everything to do with it, right? Apparently, whether or not you love somebody will dictate totally how you treat them. So love has everything to do with it, right? None of these things sound like culture. All of these things sound like God. And they all sound like they're about love. And I pray that you guys get something from this, because at the end of the day, culture is going to try to twist this thing, and it's going to say, hey, we can fall out of love. We don't fall into love. It is not a ditch or it is not a hole, right? Love is a decision. And I've had this talk with a friend and a couple of people in my life, and I stand by what I say. And I know I am right, because if love was a gushy feeling, the minute you didn't feel it, you wouldn't want to be with that person. Which is probably why 50% of marriages end in divorce, right? Because we're chasing a gushy feeling, and the feeling's gone, and I'm not in love with you anymore, and I'm out. And that is not love. Love is a decision, right? God has made a decision to love us. He made a decision to send Jesus Christ. That's what love is. It's not a to and fro thing. It's not a whenever you feel like it. It's a, hey, I'm going to be here thing. It's a decision. So I hope you guys got something from this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Share this video. Share this video with someone who has questions about what's God's opinion about love. What does God think about love? Share this video with someone who says, well, I hear people tell me I should be like this with love, but I don't really know much about what God says about love. Share this video, guys. I hope you guys got something from this. And you guys stay tuned because the next one is coming in. It's coming in fast. It's coming in hot. And I hope you guys are just enjoying these. I'm getting great feedback. And like I said, if you guys want to just throw me a topic to talk about, you can send me that in my email. I always leave my email in the description down below, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did teaching it. You guys take care of one another and stay tuned. I will be back in a couple of days. What I always say, guys, love yourselves, love one another, but most of all, love God. Peace.